My hair today is a failed attempt of this really cute hairstyle that I had in mind. I don't really know if I can describe it, but it involved like an illusion of a braided headband, but it just came out looking, I don't know. But that is not why we're here, so let's just ignore that and let's get to sewing. So, today I'm going to be making cargo pants. So I have like a beautiful cargo pants that I thrifted a while back. They're so nice, and I want to recreate that, but they're a little bit tight at the hips, and okay, they are really long, but I think I like them that long, so I think I might keep that. And they have these really huge pockets at the front, at the back, and I want to add those because, well, I do not use them, but still they add up, a little detail. And I have this weird green brown fabric. Okay, let me show you. Okay, this is the fabric that I have. It's a cotton, and well, it's corduroy, but I'm not really much of a fan of the color, and I don't really know if I'm going to be wearing it that much, but we will have to see about that because today I'm in the mood of making cargo pants, and that is what I'm going to make. And this is the fabric I'll use, maybe because I love the cargo pants, I'll wear them a lot more often, and I'm also trying to get out of my comfort zone with colors. Yeah, let's get started drafting these trousers. So I'm going to be using a tape measure, this green chalk to match the entire vibe, and then a ruler. And because this trouser was like an abrupt thing, I do not have brown paper, so I'll be drafting directly on this fabric. Now let's get started by measuring the length, because this is a curtain and it already has a hem. I want to utilize that, and my length is at 42 inches and my waistband width is 1.5 inches, so I'm going to subtract that and then add 0.5 inches for seam allowance, which gives me 41. And I'm just going to be marking all across and drawing a straight line. From marking my waist, I'm going to be marking my rise, which for me is 11 inches. And because we minused an inch from the waist, I'm also going to minus from the rise as well and mark it at 10. Before we can continue, I need to have a center line, which is where all my measurements will be based. So with my center line, my waist and my rise, I can now start feeding in my measurements. And I'm going to start with my waist. My waist, I'm going to be measuring a quarter of my waist measurement plus 1 inch. So a quarter is 4 inches. So I'm just going to mark 4 inches right there and another 4 inches on the side, and then add 0.5 inches on each side because I will be adding a dart. My waist is done and I've just joined it to the rise, and now this is where it differentiates from the back and the front. So for the back is going to be a little bit wider than the front, so I'll first start by doing my back because it's usually the more complicated one. So the rise right here, I'm going to add up my thigh measurement, which is at 26, but I do not want these cargo pants to be tight, so I'm going to add 2 inches, which gives me 28. Divide by 2, that gives me 14. And for my back, the back is usually bigger, which means I will add 1.5, and that gives me 15.5. So 15.5 is what I'm going to have on this line right here. So what I did was I added 6 inches on this side, and then I added 9.5 on the other side, and this gives me a total of 15.5. And now I have the measurements that I need to draw in my crotch curve. My curve is drawn, but I advise you to use French curves. And now I want to work on the inleg seam. This you can just decide the measurement that you want, and for me I decided it to be around 33, but right now it's not, it's around 31, but we will make up for that with a curve right here. So make sure to curve your inleg seam as you go, and that just helps you fit the trouser better. So now this part depends on how wide you want your trouser. I really want a really wide trouser, so I'm going to mark it like really wide. My inleg is done, so let's work on the curve at the hips. So remember the mark we made right here. I'm going to be joining it to my waist and then joining it to my final length. This is the shape that I have right now, and now I'm going to work on the waist because your waist is not usually straight. I want my back to be a little bit higher, so I'm going to be adding 1.5 inches and then joining it up to my side seam. And that is my final trouser for my back. Now I want to start on my front. Okay, we have our waist, our rise, our center line, and it's exactly the same as I did for the back. So let's feed in our measurements, and I'm going to start with my waist. I fed in the waist measurement exactly the same as the back, and on the rise, the side that is at the hips I measured 6 inches, and the side that is at the crotch I measured 6.5. As you can see, the front crotch is smaller than the back crotch, and now I'm going to join in all my lines: the waist, the hip, the crotch curve, the inleg curve, and from the hips all the way to the bottom. So I have my front already marked out, and I'm going to be lowering the front piece. For the back we raised at the crotch, for the front we are going to go a bit low, and we are not going to be as dramatic as the back, so I'm just going to be lowering it by 0.75 inches. So I'm going to curve this all the way to the waist. So I have this front curve right here, and as you can see I didn't change the side seam the same way I did not change the side seam for the back, meaning when I join the side seams they will stay intact. And now it's time to cut out my trousers, and don't forget to add seam allowance as you cut. Okay, so I have my pieces right here. I have my two backs and my two fronts right there, and then I have these scrap fabrics that I'm going to use. I have this really small one that will be the belt loops, this kind of big one that I will use for the fly pieces, and this extremely big one that will end up being my waistband and my pockets. Hopefully they fit, but let's put this aside and work on assembling this. I will start off by sewing my side seams. so that I can attach my pockets and get done with the hardest part of this project. So these are my pockets, these are the back pockets, these are the front pockets, these are the front pockets flap, and these are the back pockets flap. And now I'm going to be sewing at the sides so that it becomes like a whole piece, turn it inside out, sew the front flaps like that. I now want to go ahead and get started on my pockets. I will start with the front pockets because they have more work. So I'm going to be rounding off these two edges, and how I'll do that is I will fold them on an angle like that, and then I'm going to be stitching so that when I turn it inside out it will look like this, more like a fitted blanket. So I'm going to place them like this and then round them up, and then before I round them I'm going to add my pleat. My pleat is a total of 3 inches, meaning the bottom right here is going to be 3 inches and this is going to be 1.5, 1.5, 1.5 and then 1.5. Okay, so my pockets are prepped. I have my fronts right here, I have my pleat, I have my rounding, and I have my back pieces rounded, and I have my flaps, and now it's time to attach them to our cargo pants. Okay, so pockets attached. As you can see, this is my front, my back, and on the other leg this is my back, and this is my front, and they are really big. And now let's get to attaching the fly. So for the fly we're going to start on the front crotch part, obviously, and we're going to need a zipper. That's my zipper, it's from a jacket, and we have some extra pieces that I've cut out. This is 6.5 inches long, and this is what we're going to attach the fly to. So this is how it's supposed to look at the end. So we have this piece that is just one piece that will be attached to the left side of the trouser and attached to the zipper right there, and then we have this right side that will be attached to the zipper just right here, and this piece that is the underpiece that covers up the zipper from underneath. And that is how we're going to be constructing it. It's easier when you first picture it. So now I'm going to start by attaching this piece to this piece, right sides facing, sewing that in place and then understitching. Okay, that blended so well. That's the one thing I love about this fabric, and it's going to be folded in like that, and that means nothing is going to show. Now let's put this side aside and work on the right side. This is the complicated yet the simplest side. So you're going to need 2 pieces of a fly, or this piece right here, or you can do it folded and then you're going to sew this part closed. Here is my piece perfectly turned inside out, and I also went ahead and sewed that bottom piece, and now I'm going to be sewing the zipper to this right leg, right side facing. Now that this is sewn, I'm going to be turning it in like that, and this is where this one comes. You're just going to place it underneath everything like that, and you're going to top stitch everything in place. With that, the right side is done, and now all is left is joining the left to the right. So to do that, I'm going to place my left side, and I'm going to be sewing the zipper onto this flap. So I'm just going to place how I want my fly to overlap, and I feel like that's perfect. I do not want it to be like really big, so I'm just going to pin that in place, turn it inside out like that, and then grab this piece just like that, and I'm going to be sewing this part. So this is the only thing that I'm sewing, the zipper and the flap. We are almost done with the fly that is attached, as you can see, and now the last stop on this fly train is going to be top stitching this in place so that we can join this piece right here and this left trouser piece. Make sure you don't cut this overlap that we have, so it's better to just keep it on the right side, and then you're going to top stitch those two. And when you get to the end right here, make sure you bring it all the way to the other side, and this is the point you can catch the bottom overlap and join the rest of the front crotch. Yesterday was a really nice long day and I got really far with my cargo pants. So here's where I'm at. I have my fly attached, I have all the pockets in place, I did the darts, the back seam, the in-leg seam, the side seams, and now what is left is, I think, two things. Yeah, well, attaching the waistband, attaching the belt loops, finishing everything up, and then final look, like wearing this trouser. And yeah, so I want to show you how it looks so far so good. I tried it on yesterday night and let me tell you, I almost cried because of how good it looks. So before I went to bed yesterday, I did my belt loops. So I have 6 belt loops. I don't know where one is right now, but I did 6 belt loops. And this is the waistband pieces. So this is what I'm going to attach today and then put it on. Okay, so let me show you how I made these belt loops. So this was the original state and it's just a rectangle, so I folded that in half like that, and then I just sewed a straight stitch across it and turned it inside out, and that is how I got all of this. You can make as many as you want, as few as you want. So these are my waistband pieces. I cut them out of this waistband pattern that I made a really long time ago. Like, I'll link the video in the description box. I believe I was making the new trousers, patchwork trousers. So this is how it looks. This is my back, this is my front. So I have a total of 4 pieces. So I'm going to be joining 2 pieces together because this is just half of my waist. So I will join them right sides facing right there, and then I will join them at the top, sandwiching my belt loops. After stabbing myself a million times, I'm done with the waistband. It's not the neatest, but again, it's not the worst that I've done. I really like it, except for these 2 belt loops right here. I wish they were like farther, like where these dots are at, but I'm not taking those out because let me tell you, I'm excited to wear this, and also I'm really tired. So the last thing to do is attaching my button. I'm going to use this jeans button, so I'm going to be hammering it at that point and then adding a buttonhole right here. So let me go hammer in this button and do the buttonhole.